Ashton Setser. So I'm going to start off with a quote straight from the King James. Mark chapter 3, verse 24 says, "If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house is divided against itself, that house will not be able to stand." So, most of y'all, I'd say, are from Kentucky, probably from a small town. Say about 90% of you are. You grew up in places where, like I did, everyone knows your name. Everybody knows what your parents do. Everybody knows what you had to eat for supper last night. And that can be a blessing and a curse. But I grew up in a town that was very set in their ways. I've never been north of Cincinnati. I've never been anywhere that people talk different than I do. So all my friends and all the kids I grew up with were the same exact way. We did the same things. We hunt, fish, pick the guitar, do things like that. Just good old country boys, pretty much. And I never really got to travel when I was a kid. Mom was always working. We never really got to go anywhere. And my life was like this for about 17 years. Then I graduated from my high school and signed on to a college. Have you ever watched Last Chance U on Netflix? You don't know what it is? I went to a college that was like that. It was the same concept. I went there for another chance at a Division I scholarship. So doing that, we had guys that came from every corner of the country. They came from everywhere because you either got overlooked in high school or you got in trouble at a bigger university. So we had guys that came from University of Oklahoma, University of Florida. We had guys from everywhere. Y'all know who Baker Mayfield is. His fifth-string quarterback came to this college. So we had guys from California. We actually had a quarterback from Alaska. You know, I never really met or really talked to anybody or had to live with anybody that come from these different cultural backgrounds. And I'm a pretty stereotypical Kentucky boy, Eastern Kentucky boy. I mean, boots, jeans, accent. That's about how it goes, and that's the truth. That's the way I grew up. It ain't my fault. That's the way I was made. But when I went to this college, there weren't very many people, honestly, from Kentucky. I was one of the only guys in my dorm that was from Kentucky. So my roommate was the first person I met when I got to training camp. His name was Kellen, and he was from southwestern South Carolina, so he was from the South too. So we got along pretty well. He was from out in the country too. So I mean, things were kind of the same, but we did notice some differences. Like their accents a little bit different than ours. We went to the grocery store and we went to pick up a bag or something. He said, "Hey man, hand me that poke." I said, "A poke?" I said, "What's a poke?" He said, "Hand me that poke." I said, "What in the world are you talking about?" He said, "The poke, the bag." They call a bag a poke in South Carolina, apparently. I don't know. But that was one little difference that I noticed. And he always called people brother. Like, for some reason down south, they like to say brother and stuff. And I don't know why I thought he was just doing that until I met his aunt and his mom, and they were calling me brother, so that was fun. But those cultural, so me and Kellen hit it off. You know, we got to know each other, and we started noticing that there was these cliques forming within the team. You know, the kids from the West Coast all hung out with the kids from the West Coast. They had friends and stuff that they knew from back home that they would hang out with. The kids from the North would hang out with the kids from the North. The kids from the South the same way. So me and Kellen were a bit outgoing, and we wanted to try to get to know these people without cliques forming, because that's bad for a team. You don't want people animosity with them because people were different. So that next night, we invited them out, invited a couple guys out to eat. And this group consisted of a guy, one of my pretty good friends that I'm friends with now. His name was Deontay. He was from Biloxi, Mississippi. We had these two twins that were they were Latino and they were from Los Angeles, and we went with them. Then we had these two other friends. They were from Iowa and Illinois, and then we had one guy, and his name was Big Rod. He was 6'11", 485 pounds. He was from North Dakota, and so we all just went out to eat one night, and we went to, there's a little Mexican restaurant across the street that we want to go eat at just to cut up. We're all cut up, having a good time. We're sitting there, and the Diaz twins are sitting there, and they're like, mad. We're like, why are you mad? They said, this tastes awful. And we're like, what do you mean it tastes awful? Like, this is good, this is Mexican food, this is good. And they're like, no, this isn't the way you make it. So we left, we went to the grocery store, we let them do their thing, pick everything out. We came back to the dorm. They fixed us an entire, real, authentic Mexican dinner. And it was the best thing I think I've ever ate. So, and I guess just bonding over that and seeing how much it meant to them that their food tasted good, I guess, and showing how big and a part of their culture that is. It was pretty neat, and that kind of, like, we kind of bonded over that. And, that was kind of like the first time I'd ever really done anything like that, other than fried food. You know, that's all we eat where I'm from. And my other friend Deontay, I was trying to relate to some guys. You know, I had a hard time relating to a lot of guys. And Deontay came from Biloxi, and he was telling me a story about, like, we started hitting it off. And he came from extremely poor, pretty much lived in a shack, just his mom he had 4 brothers and 5 sisters or something like that. But his dad worked in a cotton mill, and cotton mills in, I guess, Mississippi are like the area where he's from, were a big part of their economy, and it gave a lot of people jobs. His dad was a blue-collar guy. He was the main employer. Well, the cotton mill shut down, and I was like, sounds a lot like Eastern Kentucky. A lot of things revolve around the mines. You know, I saw my uncles and my granddad out of work when the mines shut down. So I kind of related to him in that aspect. And it was really something special because I always thought people looked at me different. I thought people were going to judge me because of the way I talk, or when I go somewhere else. Like, I'm so nervous sometimes to travel, because I'm just like, I'm proud of the way I talk, but you know, I get some looks sometimes. I don't know, it's just that culture shock, I guess. But now it's really helped me be able to meet new people, be able to go out and just kind of like experience life and realize that there's other parts of life that I've been missing out on so long. And now, like, since I came back to Eastern, like, one of my best friends I met in college here is from Boston. I was like, that is so cool that I was able to meet him through this. And at the end of the day, after we stopped, like, there was a couple weeks where nobody really got along. There were some racial things that happened. When you get a bunch of guys in a town of 500 people and put them in one dorm together, there's going to be some animosity, there's going to be some differences. And but once we learn, like, hey, we're just kids here trying to keep the dream alive. You know, once I think we all bonded and figured that out, everything worked out. And this really helped me on another level, because my future career, I'm going to be dealing with a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life. And I think learning that, hey, it's okay, like, don't always think someone's judging you. You know, wait till you get to know the person before, you know, you make a judgment call. I think that's something that we do, like, just as human nature, is judge people as soon as we see them. You know, I try my best not to, but I'd say we're all guilty of it at one point in time. But that really helped me learn how to do that, and it was just a really sweet experience, and I'm glad I had it. So, yeah.
We've got a question. Yeah.
What college was it that you went to before?
What college?
Yeah.
Kentucky Christian.
Okay.